You nervous?
Are you scared of it?
What you're doing matters more than just football. I don't know. We'll probably cut it.
We're so back.
That is terrible.
God bless. There you go.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Jesus+Football podcast. I am your host, Noah Boudry, owner of Jesus+Football.
I'm Zach Poff, partner with Jesus+Football, summer camp director.
And we are fired up for this podcast. We've been talking about it a long time. It is currently Monday right now. We've been trying to get this set up since last Wednesday. It's been a grind. A lot of people have been helping us, but we are here and we are ready to rock.
Amen to that, man. Let's do it.
So what is the point of this podcast? We are here to talk ball. We are here to talk about Jesus, everything that Jesus has done through football. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, man. I mean, have some fun along the way, but I think, just really using the platform that we have to hopefully share the good word of the Lord and really share how he's changed our lives and touched us. So I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Introductions. I'm Noah Boudry. We're both from Michigan. Grew up in a small town football. Went down to Mount Union to play football. Played a couple years there, felt called to come back home. And, we're going to kind of get into this in a little bit, but play quarterback. Pretty much it. Started Jesus+Football in 2023, April of 2023. We're on year 3 of this right now. And, got summer camps coming up. Just super excited.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm Zach Poff. I am from Ithaca, Michigan. It's a very small town right in the middle of the state. Same kind of deal, small town football. Football was everything growing up. It was football and it was church, and that was those are the two things you kept at the top of your priority list. But, yeah, Noah and I met sophomore year of high school through 7-on-7, and the relationship really kind of took off from there, which is crazy that we've been together this long. But I think doing something like this was kind of something that was always in the back of our minds and something that we thought could be possible. But to see it really come to life and come to fruition these last couple of weeks has been awesome, and I'm just really excited to be part of it and get to do this with you.
And we didn't even know where this would, lead. When I started Jesus+Football, I didn't know where this would go. I bought 100 shirts and started selling them with my friends, and that was kind of how that started. And everything kind of just took off from there. I knew I wanted to do some camps, and now in year 3, we got 3 different locations, 4, 5, 6 different camps. We got a 7-on-7 tournament. So just super exciting stuff. Going back to how we met, we didn't even play on the same 7-on-7 team. It was a big, foundation with like 3 or 4 different travel 7-on-7 teams, and we met and we didn't even play together, but just kind of started building a relationship, and here we are now.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to really sit down and think about how it all came together, but I think, we both kind of knew that we shared a lot of the same common interests and things that were very important to us. And despite the fact that we weren't on the same team, that didn't really keep us from forming a relationship and kind of maintaining that relationship and that friendship over the years. And I'm really honored to be a part of this and have really become a part of this company over this past summer, and to get to do this with you, I think is really, really cool. And I'm excited to see what we can do with this podcast and with the company, and hopefully watch it grow and really get to spread the good word and what the Lord has done for us. So
yeah, no, absolutely. I think we're going to be working on intro music, little pop-up things that you'll see in the front of the video. Don't know. We're still working on all that, but just wanted to come on here and talk and really focus on just things that we cared about. Just get on here and talk and have some fun, and super excited. So, yeah, anything else? I think that's a pretty good start.
No, man, I think we were going to kind of lead into it, just kind of giving a little short mini version of our individual testimonies and kind of really how we came to know the Lord. So if you want to get started, and then I can kind of wrap up after you. But
yeah, are we good over there? Are we rolling?
Yeah, 15 minutes remaining on your SIM card for the camera.
Okay, good to know. So my testimony, I grew up in the church. I grew up in the Catholic Church. I went to church every Sunday, but it was more so a religion over a relationship. And it was more so about following rules and being the good kid rather than, having an actual intentional relationship with the Lord. And it was more so just following the rules, being a good kid, and do good things, and good things are going to happen to you. And that's really what it was. And it was never pray for what you want. And that was just kind of what I did. And then when I got to college, throughout high school, all throughout middle school, I was the good kid. And then when I got to college, Davis Ward, actually, awesome guy. He's a pastor now. But he reached out to me and invited me to FCA, and we started talking. He just, I guess, really seen something in me and believed in me, and really taught me what it looks like to have a relationship with Jesus rather than just a religion and following rules, but having someone that actually cares about you and wants to know everything about your day, like any other good relationship. And so I made my decision in college to really, go all in with this Jesus thing, if you would say, and never looked back. I would put so much of my hope and identity in football my entire life. I've been around football. And I put so much of my focus into football that everything else didn't really matter. And if I had a good day at football, it was a good day in my life. And if I had a bad day at football, it was a terrible day. But when I gave my life to Jesus, I had joy, and I was okay with whatever happened, because at the end of the day, I had Jesus, and that was really going to make the difference. So then I started Jesus and football. Really just haven't looked back since.
And that's awesome. And I think it's kind of cool that everyone has their own individual ways of really coming to know Jesus. I think you and I share a lot of similarities in kind of how it began. I also grew up Catholic, grew up in the church, and I'm very, very grateful for that foundation and what that built up in me. But, like you said, you come to know religion at one point instead of knowing Jesus, and that led me down some pretty difficult paths, because when you don't feel that relationship is really there, and I think sometimes God can feel so big and so powerful that it feels like you could never really have an intimate relationship there. It's almost like he's so far away. But in all reality, he wants a relationship with me just as much as anybody else. And that's an unbelievable feeling when you really first feel that. And my testimony is really similar, just grew up knowing religion, not really knowing Jesus, but the Lord actually came to me in one of my darkest parts of my life. I was struggling. I was doing a lot of the wrong things and kind of just lost in my way, not sure where I was going, waking up every day wondering why I'm doing those things, but you end up doing the same thing later in the day. And for whatever reason, by the grace of God, I was saved, and he really reached out to me and pulled me out of the darkest place I've ever been in. So for me, it's more about sharing the power of what God can do, and that God's grace is enough to save anybody. And nobody is too far gone from that and from what God can provide for you in your life. And I think that's what really touched me, was that when I felt most embarrassed about who I was when Jesus reached out and said, I am here, and I love you, and it's going to be okay. And I think that's how I came to be at the place that I'm at, and really wanted to dive in with you with Jesus and football. And I'm really glad that we're going to get started and get rocking and rolling with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's awesome. I think, no matter what someone's testimony looks like, or no matter what step of life that you're on, I think it's important to understand that everyone is in different stages of their life, and not everyone's testimony looks the same. But at the end of the day, we're all chasing one ultimate goal, and that's get to heaven and to bring people with us. So that's kind of why we started Jesus and Football. Why we started the podcast, why we started everything that we're doing is our focus is to keep the main thing the main thing. We want to share the love, hope, and joy, love, hope, and peace with others, and just try to bring as many people to heaven with us as we can. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think it's going well right now. So next we're going to get into one of the questions that we were talking about that someone wanted us to talk about was, what are some specific moments that you've seen Jesus work through football? You want to answer that, and I can get into it too?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way that I've seen Jesus work through my specific experience with football is the relationships that it's created. I think that somehow, some way, God has brought all of the right people into my life through football. And, you think about 7-on-7. I would have never met you without 7-on-7. Wouldn't be here working with Jesus in football. My coaches who have really guided me along the way and helped me both just with personal issues in my life, but also been really great role models and examples for my faith. And as I've grown and come closer to God, I realized that I don't, it's not something you can do alone. It's part of a community. You're part of a family. And when you are involved with that family and those people are right by your side, it really does drive you to want to grow closer to Jesus and be that for other people. Mm-hmm. So I think that I think there's a lot of things in your life you can look back on and you wonder how in the world did all of that come together so perfectly. And that's kind of what football's done for me, is that obviously, I love the game of football, and getting able to play has been a dream of mine for a long, long time. But the relationships that I've been able to create through the sport that have somehow been exactly what I needed, exactly when I needed them, that's not by luck. That's by the grace of God and his plan being so much more perfect than anything that I could imagine. So that's a very personal example, but through football for myself, God has given me all the right people to get me to where I'm at today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ask anyone close to me, ask Zach, the number one thing that I care about is relationships, because to me, and really the truth is, the only thing that you can take to heaven with you is people, and relationships are all about people. Everything that you do in life is going to come to an end, whether it's money, a house, a job, cars, whatever it is, all that stuff you can't take to heaven with you. The only thing you can take to heaven with you is people. And so the number one thing that I care about is relationships. And so, like Zach, Jesus has worked tremendously through football with relationships, because the only thing that matters at the end of the day is relationships. And for example, for me, in terms of relationships with Jesus working through football, they changed the schedule this past season for the national championship, and it got pushed back a couple more weeks. And me and all my buddies were on campus. Nobody else is there. It's just the football team. And we're there for probably a 2-week span with nothing but football meetings and practice, and that was it. There was no class. There was no exams or anything. It was just football. And so after our 2 or 3 hour practice, after our 2 meetings and eating or whatever, it was just hanging out with the guys. And I think that was really where all of us dived in to each other and built relationships with each other, to where we'll never forget those moments. And yeah, I mean, you care about football, you want to win, you want to get better at every practice. But when we switched our mindset to, hey, I'm playing football with these guys because I have to, and we're on the same team and it is what it is, to, hey, I want to play hard for that guy because I love him as a brother now, not just a teammate. When you can flip that switch and you realize that what you're doing matters more than just football, and you're building relationships and you're doing the little things that you would do, that you're doing for family, because it's your family and it's not just a teammate by selection, it makes a complete difference. So I would say that's one of the biggest things, like you said, relationships. Another thing I would say is just this company. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have reached out to me saying that, Jesus and football has made an impact in their life. There's a lot of kids that we've helped in the previous years with the camps that make a difference, that we've made a difference in their lives, maybe because they have a bad home life, or they don't have the proper role models. And at the end of the day, that's why we started Jesus and Football, because we want to see these kids have a positive role model. Sometimes, in all honesty, people in the NFL or social media influencers don't always make the best decisions, and these kids look up to them regardless of what they do. They look up to them. So if they see them, doing what they're doing and making poor decisions, but these kids think it's cool because they're famous and they have all this money, those kids are going to follow too. So we want to come on Jesus and Football and say that, hey, you can do other things and money doesn't define you and things like that. So I think Jesus and Football is a great example of Jesus being in football.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think that what you've done with the company so far, and hopefully what I can help do with the company, is going to make a difference in a lot of people's lives and ultimately lead them to Christ. And I think that should be the goal of all of us here on earth, is bring as many people with us, like you said, and keep those relationships and keep the main thing.
I think the biggest thing is, yes, I was the one that started the company, but I think it was just me being obedient to God's calling for me. I think we all have special gifts and callings, but I just took a step of obedience and let God run with it. I just showed him my availability. And I said, here I am, Lord, whatever it is, let's, see what happens. And we're going to take a timeout because we're going to change the SD card and we'll be right back.
Let's roll it.
All right, so we have 3 things left in the first episode ever of the Jesus Football podcast. The first thing is a quote in my quote book. One thing that I like to do, and this is a great takeaway for anyone. I don't even know if I've told you about this, but every day in my phone, I write daily lessons that I learn throughout whether it's the Bible, whether it's honestly through football, anything. And if I feel God speaking to me that I should learn this and pay attention to this, I write it down in my phone. And I collect it throughout the entire month. I have like May lessons, April lessons, all the way back. And so this book is all of these lessons that I've taken throughout the entire years. This book's done, and I'm starting book 2 for this year. But every day or every time we do a podcast, I want to read a verse through this and just talk about it. Not a verse, a quote. And so we're going to do it anywhere. Oh, I like the highlighted ones. That means they're really good. Okay. All right, you ready? This is the first one.
Let's do it.
Episode 1, random.
Yeah.
We did not know.
Absolutely.
All right, ready?
Man.
Those closest to you benefit most when you do what's right. That's good.
It is good.
First episode, it's pretty good.
Powerful.
I mean,
It's almost like we planned it.
those closest to you benefit most when you do what's right. Talk on that.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to exactly what we said about relationships, right? I mean, the people you hang around, another quote that kind of builds up that is, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And your circle that surrounds you is what ultimately you become, right? So when you surround yourself with people who are doing the right things, people who are leading you in the right direction, people who lead you closer to Christ, people who help you work hard, stay disciplined, you ultimately become that, right? Then you do the same for other people. And I think that when we can be good examples for people, which is kind of really what Jesus and football is all about, is that example that none of us are perfect. You and I are dirty, evil, rotten sinners who have never spent a day in our lives being perfect. But all that matters is the relentless pursuit and chase for a relationship with Jesus and wanting to grow closer to him and bring other people with us. And I think that's a great quote that really relates to what we said about relationships and how that's been the main way we've seen Jesus work in our football lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'll preach.
That'll preach.
Those closest to you benefit most when you do what's right. When people are close to you, I see it as relationship driven, like Zach said. Everything stems from relationships. And we might just title this first episode Relationships.
Right.
But when they're close to you, I feel that the people who are closest to you trust you the most, if that makes sense. And when they trust you, they're expecting you to do what's right. And when you do what's right, they benefit from it because, hey, they're doing exactly what they expected you to do. I think you can also see it from the flip side of it, that those closest to you are hurt the most when you do what's wrong. And either way you look at it, it makes an impact and it makes you think about the people closest to you. For example, my brother, my younger brother, he's a sophomore in high school right now. I'm sure we're going to talk about him a lot. But Luke, he is extremely close to me, and we have a great relationship. And when this is one of my motivating things. This is one of my reasons of why I do what I do. When I do things the right way, I see him and I see my other siblings looking up to me. So when I do things that are right, I see them wanting to do the same things because they're benefiting from it and they're seeing what should be done. But in the same way, if I mess up, which I do, and thank God for God's grace, when I mess up, God picks me up and God takes care of that. They see me mess up and it impacts them in a negative way, the same way that it impacts them in a positive way when I do what's right. So just remember that today. Remember that as you go throughout, your week, that those closest to you, when you do things right, they're going to benefit from it. And when you do things wrong, they're going to be hurt from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, great. So that's good stuff. You guys,
yeah, man.
When any chance you get to learn something, take it down, write it down. Because this entire book is full of just quotes and thoughts that God has put on my heart. And over the years, and another thing that I think about, and I actually think I wrote it on the first page. This is my thoughts journal. Lots of quotes, thoughts, prayers, lyrics. One day I hope my children, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren, and so on will learn from me. I love you all. That just that fires me up because, when I'm long gone, hopefully 1,000 years from now, I'm just kidding. I don't want to live that long. But when I'm, long gone, I still want to impact people and still want to point people to Jesus. And I just feel that this is one of the ways that I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the way that you really measure the value of a life. When you pass away, no one's going to talk about how much money you had. No one's going to talk about the house you lived in or how many cars you drove. It's, oh my gosh, he impacted me in this way. Oh my gosh, she inspired me to do this. And the impact you leave on people and the impression you can leave on people, that's how you measure the true value of a life and what you did here on earth and how well you led people to go after the kingdom just like you did.
Absolutely. This is totally off script. I did want to do this. I kind of just forgot about it. One word. I want to do one word. I want to do a little section on every episode where I say one word and you kind of talk about it and you preach about it and me as well.
Okay.
Ready for the word?
Ready for the word.
Episode 1, first word of the first podcast, success.
Success.
I'll go first. I'm ready.
You're ready for this? You've been thinking about this.
I have been thinking about this. You can think.
Okay.
But success to me is when, and this will preach. This is a quote. Put it on a shirt. Success is when those who know you best respect you most. The people closest to you, those are the people that know you the best when they respect you the most. Because I think a lot of times in the social media world, especially nowadays, people see the highlights of your life. Nobody goes on social media and posts the worst things ever. Nobody does that. They don't care. They don't post how bad their life's going unless it's to honestly motivate other people. But nobody goes on there wanting to talk about how bad their life is. They post the highlights of their life. They post the great pictures, the great selfies. And if you don't know that person, you would think that their life is amazing. You would probably respect them, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. When the people closest to you respect you most, that means you're doing the little things right. That means you're caring about the little details. That's what success is to me.
That's a very
It's
good
not
answer.
money, I'll tell you that.
That's a very good answer. And you had time to marinate on this today. I didn't get to think about
Zach
this.
That if we were gonna talk about important things, that I would give him time to think about it. But I am putting you on the spot.
Very much. On episode 1.
While you're still thinking, what do you think success is not? We'll start with that.
I think, to me, success is not an accumulation of material things, but I think that that's very hard to remember. I think that at times we can get very, very caught up in money. Okay, I drive this car, but they drive that car. My house is this big, but their house is that big. And I think that when we get into those mindsets, that's the enemy coming after us and really wanting you to feel that. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I think that success is not an accumulation of material items, as easy as that might be to fall into. But to me, success is, like I said, the impact that you leave on the people closest to you. I think that, you had a great, great, great lead in, and, the people that know you the best respect you the most, which would imply that they even know your flaws, and they know that you fall short time and time again, but they respect you for who you are and the effort you put into things. And that is a great way to look at it. And I think that for me, very similar answer, but the impact that you leave on people. And, I think I always try, regardless of how long I'm going to interact with you, to make it something positive, right? Even if you walk away from that interaction thinking that nut job didn't stop smiling like crazy the whole time, but you found something positive from the interaction you had with me, right? And of course, you have a lot more time with certain people in your life to make an impact that really might cause a change in their life for the positive. But to me, it's waking up every day and trying to be the best person that you can be for anyone around you who might need it, right? We were talking last week about our Bible studies, praying that not that God would bring 100 people there, but that God would bring the right people there, right? I think, we never know the plan. The plan is so much more divine than we can even imagine. But how many people do we cross throughout a day that might really just need somebody to smile and really might just need something positive, right? And maybe God had us walk across their path because that's what they needed, right? So to me, it's the impact you leave on people, regardless of how much time you have with them. What kind of difference did you make in their life?
Absolutely. Amen. This gets me so fired up because we could just sit here for 10 hours and just talk and talk and talk. And there's just so many things that I want to say. And we're only on episode 1.
Could be 24/7
We
talk
might
show
have,
hosts.
if you guys are watching episode 10 right after this and we have the same clothes on, it's because we've done 10 straight episodes. But no, absolutely. That's awesome. All right. Second to last thing, you can go first. What's your favorite verse and why?
Yes. This I had time to think about and prepare for.
I did not
But
throw a curveball here.
No, not this time.
Curveball story. We need that soon.
We'll get the curveball story
We'll get
for
the
sure.
curveball story.
For sure. But my favorite Bible verse is something that I've really come to appreciate more recently. John 13:7, which is, what I'm doing now. You may not know why, but one day you'll understand. In my life, I think there's been a lot where it's like, why? Just why? Why did this happen to that good person? Why did these good people have to go through that? And even sometimes selfishly, you get a victim mentality within yourself. Why is this so hard for me? Why didn't I get that football-wise? Why didn't I get that offer? Why don't I have these opportunities? And I think that it's very easy to kind of let the enemy get in your ear like that because he's relentless. He's after you all the time. But I think it's hard. It's much easier said than done to trust God's plan and really buy into the fact that it's going to work out according to someone else's timing, because I think we all like to be in control and we all like to feel like
especially as guys.
Especially as guys. Especially as
Absolutely.
guys, we like to feel like we always know what to do and we always know what's the right decision, when probably significantly more than half the time we don't. But to really trust God and know that throughout all of my shortcomings and my misunderstandings and different things that I might not succeed in, that there is a divine creator who loves me more perfectly than anyone ever can and has a plan for me that is so perfectly laid out that why should I worry? It's going to come to fruition exactly how he designed it to, and as long as I'm willing to accept what he wants for me and kind of carry that and roll with it, then we're going to rock and we're going to ride. So I think that's one that recently has definitely become my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have the same verse. Honestly, I think it's just two different parts of the Bible. I think it's worded differently. Mine is Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. We're all called according to his purpose. There is a plan that God has set in motion long before we were ever here or even thought about. God thought about us, and it really just hits me like a truck in a good way to know that everything happens for a reason. And like you said, in the moment, it's terrible. In the moment, it could be terrible, I should say. In the moment, you might not know why everything is happening the way it's happening, but it happens for a good reason. God is going to work it out for good. And if it's not good, it's not the end. That's what gives me comfort, is knowing that the end of the story is not here because it's not good. Now, we're not going to come up here and preach and say that everything is sunshine and rainbows, but we're going to say that even when it's not sunshine and rainbows, when it's storming, when things are terrible, when you feel like you're in your darkest pit, you're not alone. God is with you, and one day it's all going to make sense and everything is going to work out for better. It's so powerful to know that you have someone on your side that wants what's absolute best for you, and that even when you make a mistake over and over and over and over and over and over again, he still loves you and he still cares about you. And that's what separates the love of Jesus from any other love that you even think that you could imagine. it's undescribable, the grace of God. And so, yeah, that's my favorite verse, Romans 8:28. And I think we share a similar belief with those.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that when you can really come to understand that and really come to trust that,
It's hard.
it's so hard.
Near
it's so
impossible.
hard. But when you can truly come to accept that, that's when we become the most powerful and able to face anything. You know, whatever curveball life could throw, we are prepared for, because we know that if it feels crappy right now, it's not the end of the story.
Yep.
That God has a divine plan, and he's going to take us exactly where we need to be.
And I think, yes, thank you. I think with that, like you said, it's hard to understand. And the toughest part about it is you think you can understand it, and boom, you understand it for that moment. You got to understand it again and again and again when bad things happen in your life. And it's not just a one-time deal where, okay, God, I get it. Everything happens for a reason. Cool. Let's move on. Everything's good now. Okay, what are you going to do when the next thing happens and you're living in it? Because it's easy to see things in the past that are bad, how God turned it for good.
Mm-hmm.
My knee injury, other things that have happened that have been bad that turns out for good. It's easy to see it in the past. In the future, when things happen and you're living in that crappy moment, I mean, it takes guts and it takes a lot of faith to know that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So we have one more thing, kind of a fun game. Zach and I are a little competitive. This one, of course, is not a winner-take-all type of game, but we're going to get a little game. But before that, we're going to go to commercial break because we have to change out our things again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Figuring things out.
Shout out to Jake for helping us with all of this stuff. We wouldn't be able to do it. Okay, so our last little game, we want to play a game every time because Zach hates to lose.
We're fun guys.
Zach hates to lose.
Zach doesn't lose.
Zach hates to lose, and he needs to practice. So, but this isn't even a competition. We're going to do we call it speed run, speed questions, speed dating.
Sure, that works.
And we're going to be asking like 15 or 16 questions really fast, but you can't think about your answer. You just have to say it, which could get bad. Do you want to go first or second? So I made my questions. He made his, and we don't know. I don't know what his questions are to me and vice versa. He doesn't know what I'm going to ask him and vice versa. You want to go first or second?
I want to ask first. Okay.
Speed questions.
All right. Rapid fire.
I'm going to dial in.
Are you scared of it?
I'm never.
Okay.
Never.
Ready?
Start the timer. There's no timer because we don't know how to put that up
but
yet.
It's okay. All right. If you could play a sport other than football, what would it be?
Hockey.
Who's the best quarterback of all time?
Tom Brady.
What's your favorite breakfast cereal?
Ooh, Raisin Bran, healthy, unhealthy, Fruity Pebbles. That's a great answer. Keep going. No, see, this is speed.
If Jesus fed the 5,000 today, what fast food would he use?
Ooh, Chick-fil-A.
What would he use?
What do you mean?
Was just chicken sandwiches for everybody?
Yeah, waffle fries too.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Honey mustard, no Chick-fil-A sauce.
Okay. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten on purpose?
I'm allergic to walnuts, and I thought I grew out of it, and I almost died. Walnuts.
Okay. What's your go-to excuse when you're late?
Probably someone else.
Okay. If you were a kitchen appliance, what would you be?
A spoon.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten on accident?
On accident? Probably that walnut. No, that was on purpose. I don't know what my answer would be. This is a good one. Weirdest thing I've ever ate on purpose?
On accident.
Probably like glue or something. I don't know. That's a bad answer. That was a mess up. That's a fail. Keep going.
It's okay. I'm already winning this game. If you had a cologne, what would the brand name be?
A what?
If you had a cologne, what would the brand name be?
Cologne? Dang, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know. Noah's Mist? I don't know. That is terrible. I don't know. That is awful. I don't know. That's a bad one.
I wouldn't even sample that. What's your favorite way to eat potatoes?
Mashed. I mean that.
If you had a nickel for every time someone told you your shoes were untied but they weren't, how rich would you be?
Do I have to look?
Yes.
Then like 3 times because I only fell for it once per
15
person.
cents.
15 cents.
Math is hard. Would you rather play football in flip-flops or with oven mitts on?
Ooh, flip-flops. Wait, in between the toe or like
the
athletic
thong
ones?
sandals.
The thong sandals. Probably the thong sandals. That's a tough one.
Would you rather fight one sumo wrestler-sized ant or 1,000 ant-sized sumo wrestlers?
1,000. Oh, 1,000 ant-sized sumo wrestlers.
Would you rather always be stuck in traffic or always have an itch you could never reach?
Always have an itch I could never reach.
That's it.
That's it.
That was terrible.
I messed.
That was so bad,
What did I
actually.
panic on? I panicked on one of them.
You panicked on a handful.
No, the one. Go back through them.
Weirdest thing you ever eaten on accident?
Yeah, that was a bad one. Let me think about that one.
Change the
I don't have my
change
answer.
the rules of the game.
I don't have my answer
Change
on
the
that
rules of
one.
the game. All right.
How many mess ups? Like 3?
How many mess ups or how many
Yeah.
bad answers? Those are two different things.
Probably the same though.
I don't know, like 10.
All right, you ready?
We're locked and we're so
He
dialed.
thinks it's going to be the easiest thing ever.
I think I'm prepared for this. I'm not afraid of it. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Yes or no? Could you survive a zombie apocalypse?
Yes.
Lie. Favorite 3 fruits? Quick.
Watermelon, pineapple, strawberries.
That was not the same 3 he said earlier. Favorite route to run?
Favorite route? Corner route.
Pineapples on pizza?
Yes.
Attaboy. Favorite NFL team?
The Lions.
Get rid of cheese or chocolate forever.
Cheese.
One person to play catch with in the Bible.
Jesus.
Cop out answer. Go-to music?
Country.
Favorite food?
Lasagna.
Best football movie?
Remember the Titans.
Turf or grass?
Turf.
Name all the positions you played in football ever.
Ever?
Ever.
Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, corner, safety, linebacker, kick returner.
No line?
No. I was soft.
It shows. Greatest football no, we're not doing that one. Favorite football player
Ever?
ever.
Calvin Johnson.
Okay. If your football knowledge was a Madden rating, what would it be?
64.
Wow. That is terrible. Favorite book in the Bible?
Matthew.
Would you rather build the ark or part the Red Sea?
Part the Red Sea.
And that's all my questions.
Okay.
You did pretty good.
I did a whole heck of a lot better than you did.
I think he won that.
Zach didn't lose.
I let him win. What do I want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
You say turf because you've only played on turf.
I played on grass in high school
Ithaca was grass?
when I was there.
No line.
No.
You know
I
what?
was too soft. I
You
don't
know what my first position ever was?
Center.
Center.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
boy.
So it was flag football, so they didn't touch me. But if they did, I would have cried. Pineapples on pizza? Absolutely.
Yep.
Cheese or chocolate?
I'm a sweets guy.
So get rid of
Big.
cheese.
I'm a sweets guy. I can't do it without chocolate. Yeah.
Fat man at heart.
Massively.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's why we have to work out.
I know.
Favorite route to run? Corner.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to the first question. Yes or no, could you survive a zombie apocalypse?
No, I could not. I lied. I just answered quickly.
Okay. Explain yourself.
I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know the
think
first
you could
step
either.
I wouldn't know the first step.
Is that mean of me to say?
No, because you're right. I wouldn't know how to act. I'd be massively too afraid.
64
Yeah.
on a Madden football knowledge rating.
Yeah.
Why? If you ask me that
Because-
question, ask me that question. Ask me that question.
When you say like 99 or something.
No, I wouldn't say 99.
Okay, what would it be?
Ask me.
If your football knowledge was a Madden rating, what would it be?
98. No, I'm just kidding. It'd be like 95. Like, I really think so. There's always more you can learn, but I really think I'm up there. Maybe not 95. 92? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think if you made a test for me, I'd probably fail it.
How many safeties in cover 2?
2.
Dude. That got you the 64.
Yeah.
Speechless, though. I really thought 64?
Yeah.
Great questions.
The great question.
Who had better questions? He answered better, or he had better questions?
Both. Yes. The answer is yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The crowd's rolling with Zach.
You are
For those of you who
walking
couldn't
home.
see behind the camera.
All right. I think that's it. Any other fun stuff? We're so excited, and I
Yeah.
really just want to quit pausing the video. I just want to roll for like 6 hours.
Right.
We're going to figure out how to do that one day.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah. Anything else?
No,
For the
man.
first podcast.
No, I
Like,
thought it was
we
great.
can never have another first podcast unless
That
we
is
deleted
a true
everything right
statement. That's a true
now.
statement.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm definitely not afraid of it.
I don't know why you keep saying that.
You keep asking me.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining and tuning into the first ever Jesus and Football podcast. That's really all I got. We got to work on our intros, our outros. We need some music. If there's anything else that we need, let us know. How do you like our table? Anything else we need to add to the table?
I think there's a lot on the table.
Little story. One story.
One story.
This little, can you zoom in on this? How good are we about to get? No, don't even mess with it. This little sticky note says Jesus and Football with Romans 8:31.
Look at the side cam.
Oh, yeah, right
Camera
there.
number 3.
Can you see that? Jesus and Football, it's a little sticky note, even with some marker on it and just messing around. I wrote that sticky note like 5 or 6 months. I don't even know if you know this, before I even started working on Jesus and Football. And it was just like a vision that God put in my heart, and I kind of pushed it away. And I was like, okay, Lord, I hear you. So I just like having that out there. I framed it. I thought it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
You ever read those books?
Not all of them.
Me neither. All right, guys. We will talk to you on episode 2. Have
Catch
a great
ya.
day.